Hello, and welcome back to Old School Sports and our Franchise Hockey Manager 8 playthrough of the 2024-2025 Stanley Cup champion, New York Islanders. You can see, if you look closely, that it's September 29th, but this is our off-season review episode. Had some technical issues with the episode that I did the play-by-play on, so I'm going to kind of review the big events from our off-season with everybody. So we're back caught up, and hopefully we can get the new season started and not run into any technical issues. One big piece of news coming out of our championship season was that Alain Vigneault retired immediately after we won the championship, went out on top. So we had to hire a new head coach. And the head coach that we brought on is Kevin Dineen, 61-year-old from Quebec. You can see in his coaching ratings, he's solid, but in his miscellaneous ratings, which are more important for a head coach, very strong at player management, motivation, and discipline, and also pretty good at tactics and very good at in-game tactics. So we felt he was the best option out there. We've had great coaches behind the bench during our 4 seasons as GM of the Islanders, first with Trotz and then with Vigneault. So hopefully Dineen, although number-wise doesn't look quite as strong as those two, hopefully he will do a great job of helping keep our team moving in the right direction. We really lost only one significant free agent off of our Stanley Cup winning team, Brandon Tanev, the 33-year-old. You can see he played with us the past 3 seasons with kind of decreasing games played and decreasing time on ice and decreasing game scores each of the last 3 years. So we were definitely willing to allow him to go. As the off-season started, we were basically at a payroll of around $80.5 million. So essentially at the salary cap limit, with about only $1 million of wiggle room. Looking at our roster, there were 2 potential moves that we were considering making. One was trading away our longtime center/right winger Pajot, who was our assistant captain. Had a nice career with the Islanders, but was due to make $5 million this year as a 32-year-old in his final season under contract. We're hoping to turn him into anything, really, just to open up some cap space. And then the second move that were considering was trading our longtime goalie Sorokin. We have a great young goalie in Bridgeport, spent the whole season in Bridgeport last year with Sorokin and Ottinger, wanted to open up some space for him to join the big club. And Sorokin was also making about $5.5 million a year under contract for another couple of years. So we felt like if we could do something with Sorokin and or Pajot, we could open up some salary cap space to do something interesting. And we did end up trading away both of them. As you can see here, we did send Sorokin to the Avalanche, and we got Oscar Olausson, 22-year-old forward, decent potential. Doesn't look like he's going to be a superstar. Has been up with Colorado for a couple seasons now, but we got him back. And then to get to the Bruins to take on Pajot's contract, we also had to give them the rights to Michael Gut, who actually does not look as promising as he did when we traded him away, fortunately. And we got a 3rd-round pick for the 2 of them. We were happy to get anything for Pajot just to get him off of the roster and open up the salary cap space that getting rid of him a year early provided us. And then we also traded our longtime defenseman Sean Walker away, got a 5th-round pick for him. He had, if you remember, at the end of our Stanley Cup run, we had to send him down to Bridgeport. He was kind of the eighth defenseman on our team. Coming into this season, it didn't seem like he would be anything better than the sixth or seventh defenseman and possibly the eighth. So we decided to get what we could for him and also get a little more salary off the books. So the first step of our plan to reduce payroll went just fine, and with trading away Sorokin, you can see that allowed us to bring up Lucas Peric, excellent-looking young goaltender. As I mentioned, spent all of last season down in Bridgeport, where he had a good season. We'll see whether he takes over. Ottinger has actually been who our coach has gone with more often the last 2 seasons, even though Sorokin is more experienced. But if you just look at the age of the 2 players and the ability of Peric and his potential, it seems like he should be starting over Ottinger, but we'll see what happens going forward. So those moves left us with about $10+ million of salary cap space to try to add some players, and we were quite aggressive with restricted free agents again. Did not make any progress, and tried to get some regular free agents. Got into a bidding war with the Penguins that we ended up losing on a player. This sounds weird, but we were expecting that Sidney Crosby would be our fallback if our restricted free agents that we were pursuing, as well as the player that we lost to the Penguins, didn't work out. And as it turned out, Crosby ended up signing a contract the same day that we lost out on the restricted free agent that we were pursuing, as well as the other winger who went to the Penguins. So that left us in a little bit of a pickle. We had about $10 million of salary cap space and had to figure out what to do with it. So we started looking at the trade blotter, the trade wire, seeing who was on the trade block. And we found our target, Panarin. And you can see that we executed on the trade for our target. 33 years old, the oldest player on our team, almost $11.7 million on his contract, and only 1 year left. So he is definitely a rental. And we are turning the Islanders, it appears, into a bit of a fantasy team that is chasing Stanley Cups and trading away our prospects and our high draft picks to do it. To get rid of Panarin, we had to give up the best prospect in our entire organization, which was painful to do. But looking at our other prospects, he was a left defender, and we still have Matteo Rotundi, who was our first-round draft pick a couple of seasons ago. Not quite as great potentially as the player we traded away, but still a pretty good prospect, and we felt like the opportunity to add someone like Panarin was just something that we couldn't give up with a team that's built to win right now. The other thing I should note is that before we executed the Panarin trade, we were gunning after another unrestricted free agent, wanted to see if we could actually execute on picking up an unrestricted free agent. So we offered him $2 million a year more than he was looking for. And the Devils chose not to match our offer. So we were lined up to bring on the 23 or 24-year-old. I can't remember exactly who it was, but a really nice young winger who had grown up in the Devils organization. And then when we went to click the button to pay the compensation we own, we realized that with all the trades we made, we no longer had our first round and third round draft choice for next season. So Panarin, believe it or not, is actually a bit of a fallback for us. We had actually been able to execute on picking up an unrestricted free agent, and then it fell through because with a lot of these trades we've made over the last few years, we've gotten rid of so many of the draft choices in our organization. So that was a bit of a bummer. We've wanted our team to get younger. Clearly Panarin is not doing that. But anytime you can add a superstar like that when you have a team that's built to contend, it's something you have to do. You can see heading into the season, we're a lot younger than the Islanders were a few years ago. Panarin and Pulock are the only players 30 or above on the roster as we prepare to begin the regular season. Now, part of the reason for that is that on our injured list, we have 31-year-old Adam Pelech. He got banged up a little bit in the preseason, and he will be back soon. So we'll have another 30-year-old when he comes back. And then a more significant industry, Anthony Beauvillier, our star winger, is out with a fractured wrist for 1 to 2 months. So those were the two injuries that we suffered during the preseason, one more significant than the other, clearly. So heading into the regular season, obviously it's never going to be easy to defend a Stanley Cup title, but we feel like we're in a better spot than we were a year ago. Perek is definitely equal to what we had in Sorokin, if not possibly better. And then clearly Panarin is much better than what we had in an aging Pajot. Had to give up a lot to get him. We're definitely a team that is playing for right now. We do still have some good young prospects on the roster and at Bridgeport and kind of scattered around the juniors in Canada and other countries. But we're definitely all in on this season. So anything less than another real strong regular season and a good long playoff run is going to be very disappointing for us after we continued to mortgage the future a bit to bring on Panarin. Looking at our roster as the season begins, feel pretty good with Perek and Ottinger at goalie. Our defense is solid. Got a lot of kind of interchangeable parts with Capobianco, Peak, Marino, Dobson. Pulock is clearly, one of the stars, stay-at-home defensemen. And then the real star, of course, is Adam Fox, who we picked up from the Rangers last season in a big trade where we once again gave away a lot of young talent and or draft picks. The interesting defenseman that we have up with us now is David Jaraczek. He is the only defenseman we have on the roster who doesn't need to go through waivers. So the 21-year-old will be sent down to Bridgeport when Pelech comes back shortly. But expect that he will be the first person up anytime we need help on the blue line. So hopefully he will get a lot of action with the big club this season. Looking at our left wingers, clearly Panarin is the key acquisition, and hopefully we'll team up with Barzal on the first line to generate a ton of offense. A little weak on the left wing right now until Beauvillier gets back. You can see still have Mason Shaw, and then Tanner Howe, our first-round pick from a year ago, who went right to the NHL from the WHL, should be getting some more playing time this year, and hopefully will be around for the playoff run after injuries cost him some of the Stanley Cup playoffs last season. Looking at our centers, obviously things start with the captain, Barzal, coming off a fantastic season for us. As I mentioned, I think pairing him up with Panarin on the first line is going to generate even more offense for him than in the past. And then at center, a lot of youngsters with Matthew Savoy, who improved in his second year, Atu Rati, and then also Alexander Campbell, who split time between Bridgeport and the Islanders last year as we continue to get younger. And then right wing, Konechny, who we picked up a year ago, had a nice first season for us. Wallstrom is back. Natchez expecting him to have an even bigger year than he had last season. Was his first season with the Islanders, and then Bobby Brink, the youngster who had a solid season for us. So the roster doesn't look all that different, but as I said, ultimately adding Panarin and bringing up Perrick, we think that we are in a much better spot today as we start to try to defend our Stanley Cup title than we were a year ago at this time. So those are the highlights of the 2025 off-season for the Stanley Cup champion New York Islanders. In our next episode, we're going to dive into the 2025-2026 season, see exactly how we are able to do as we try to defend that title. Thank you so much for watching. Would love your comments down below if you're enjoying things. Would also love it if you subscribe and like our videos. Hope you have a great day. Take care.